Colleagues, we begin our briefing. The topic of the briefing is sensational effects of Russian media during the last 10 days. And our speaker, we have Margo Gontar, who is a co-editor of the Store Fake Org.
Briefing devoted to the topic of the sensational effects of Russian media in the last 10 days. .org project. So, welcome.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. We'll begin with a slide. As I'm an anchor person of this project, and we make videos for 10 weeks, and we started to exist 22 weeks, and so this is the 20th Jubilee issue. Right after a special issue about the situation with Malaysia Boeing 777. Hello, Margo Gontar, and together with the news. And so we speak about fakes in the news in Ukraine. You all know about what Butkevich called it, what Vitaly Churkin told, and how Russian media made a sensation from this satire humoristic website. On the 31st of July, Russian news television showed a part from Romanska TV, and Bogdan calls ethical people in Donbass. It's not a depressive list. It's you have to understand that there are so many problems, and the most important that there is a lot of not needed people. Donbass should be used as a resource. It seems to me that I don't have understanding of a recipe what could be done fast, but what the most important to do is doesn't matter how that suits this category of people who should be killed. The statement of Butkevich did not embarrass an anchor person. She listened to the pathetic speech quite attentively. That was Russian 24, the same, and the first TV channel mentioned Butkevich in evening news on the 31st of July, and in the background of with Poland. But that is fake. That is a video. Butkevich, everything is easy. Should 1.5 million residents should be killed, and there are 49 seconds. If you watch that video, and you see that it's not about 4 different parts, and there is an average for 31 minute. Even if there was a 7-minute conversations, but you can see that video clip was longer. Special attention should be paid to video from the 19th minute. It's not just a depressive region. There is so many problems, and the most important is that there's lots of not needed people in the economy. It's impossible to give them just because all that economic structure there, it is not efficient. It's very difficult. Journalists responded to the publication of fake video as to killing. I told that we should kill terrorists who took weapons and with whom you cannot agree, and he wrote that on Facebook. Well, Nastasenko was listening to Butkevich 20 minutes, not 49 seconds. He spoke. She understood that he spoke about killing terrorists, so that's why she says so calm. Thirdly, this Hromadske it was recorded on the 29th of April, and they put it on the in 3 months. Why Russian channels short video 3 months old? That's the question to editorial policy, then to standards of news. And a representative in the UN of Russia, Churkin, gave a press conference in New York. During his statement, he made some big statements, and I see that TV reports and news and Mrs. Pele gave assessment and losses of civilians to about 100,000 people. And probably he speaks about the UN commissioner, but she spoke not about 100,000, but that from the ATO area, more than 100,000 people moved. As to casualties, to the report on the human rights representative from the UN, since the beginning of ATO until the 22nd of July, it's about 1,129 people. And that report says that armed groups kidnap, torture people in the east of Ukraine, and there are students among kidnapped local politicians, teachers, and minors. And the number of such people is not that less than 812 people. But what's so shocking about 100,000? You hear that from interpreter. He spoke English, and later on he published on his the original recording, and it became clear that the statement was distorted during translation. Churkin spoke about 11,000 of casualties. It was on Russia Today website. The website of Russian newspaper Российский комсомолец gave reference to a German newspaper, and that there was a pilot of Su-25 that he shot down MH17 over Ukraine. Journalists assumed that the material can be like a bomb, and the pilot, and they don't give the name, confirmed that a Malaysian MH17 was shot down from his cannon, and there was. And some experts could not become those should not be of a book. And the same news was reprinted by some other mass media, and that is just fake. And for Deutschland, to which they refer, there is before the news, it says in three languages: English, German, and Russian. It says that the source of this article is a satire website. But in a press it says that argument Morgan show it means that it's a humoristic. Everything which is here is just made up, even lie. If an article is close to the reality, it's reality, not it's not because of us. In mass media and blogs and social networks during the last years, and there is information about so-called, as alleged, that ally, that Ukraine is ally of the US, and the American Senate passed a draft law which provides to Ukraine, Georgia, and Moldova status of countries allies of the US outside of NATO. Now, in case of a direct military aggression against these countries, the US can use its forces to protect them from external aggression. But that is lie. As about the draft law act to prevent Russian aggression, which was brought Senator Bobok on the 1st of May, but judged by the since that time it did not move anywhere, and it was not considered by anyone. The site gotrack.ua, which keeps the track of draft laws, assessed that only this 2% of chance of being enacted. So that's why Ukraine has not a status of an ally of the US. MH17 should. That's it. We have as to what can be added to this issue. The most interesting was that this is the first time the situation like with Churkin, when a Russian journalist, they lie because originally he told he gave correct numbers. He said 11,000 of casualties, but in translation on Russia Today we hear about 100,000. That's in their propaganda they come to such tricks. As to the UN4, very often readers tell us that we work on Russian fakes, and it's not so, because UN4, that is a Ukrainian fake, and in addition to that, we considered this week a fake from Sensational, and they spread. There was a picture of last evidence of participation of Russian military men in the war on the side of terrorists, and there was a picture with tattoos. You can find it in our website. That was just a Photoshop, and instead of a tattoo, that was the 45th Special Unit of Russian Federation. As to statements of Churkin, I have to say that he told the truth there, but then he told that allegedly the Parliament of Ukraine is dismissed, which is not true, and he told that in the relation of that the Parliament cannot ratify the document about the admission of Russian specialists to the MH17 crash site, and he told how that can be done if the Parliament is dismissed. It's not true because. On the 24th, they dismissed the coalition in the parliament. The coalition in the parliament, that is not, if in 30 days there will be a new coalition, we understand that how that happens, so the parliament is still in force, like usually. So there is a document which should be ratified or about the access of foreign specialists to Ukrainian site. There was a story with cosmetics which was stolen from Boeing, and there was about Ekaterina Parkhomenko, whose blame was showing off in Instagram, and the Moscow Komsomolets published that it's not that fake was not true, and they used blogger Kibela, who made an investigation. And it's interesting that tonality has changed in Russian media, and now they publish they fight against Ukrainian fakes. That's irony, because until now they didn't do that. So I think that's a sign that they had to react to what we do. And the situation with that girl, it was told that and there was a Polish site, they used a different Polish website, Examiner.ru. They published her, but different account. But such cosmetics you can buy in anywhere in Russia and in the Netherlands, and so it was some kind of a fake. And Vestiru published alleged data that Dutch representative blame Kim, that the Kiev is lying about the missile that shot down Boeing. But that was a citation, and they told that deciphered data from a black box can damage, can hurt investigation. On the 28th of July, they published the data officially presented from Ukraine, from the black boxes that the plane crashed because of a missile, and that can damage, hurt investigation, distort investigation. The second part of our video, that's a guest, Yelena Serdyuk, and who wrote some articles about Ukrainian and Russian media. She just came from Slavyansk. Briefly about that, this is just a note about disproof of fakes, but readers paid attention that the tonality of Western media has changed, and British and American and German, after the tragedy with MH17, because right away there was a lot of Putin was portrayed as an objective enemy, and there was a clear position, and for Ukraine that is a good signal. And the second part of our conversation about Slavyansk, that, as Olena told, is that region is poorly informed, and also they don't perceive Ukrainian news. And she suggested that information should be provided in Russian, and I thought that it's necessary to pay attention to that. That's it. Thank you. Any question? Any question from the audience? Okay. Then a question from our center. Tell us how rhetorics Russian rhetorics changed after MH17 crash, and what prevails, video fakes or photo fakes? I believe that it's very difficult. They have less of photo fakes, and there were lots of them during the active crisis in the east, when it was not clear what happens there with Russia. And there were now just a few, but now there is a lot of efforts. I think that they started to play. It's not a game, but now it looks like a game. Now they disprove fakes, and now they change the way of providing material. Now they're trying to find fakes in Ukrainian media, and they're trying to disprove them. But the disproof is a fake, and as if an investigation. And it's funny because that is done by Russian mainstream media. They give information like SBU, they put it, but it's not true. We investigated. So before they didn't have that type of material, and many people say that Ukraine is losing warfare, information warfare. If they react to that, and if they change, I think it's not so. It means that they have to take us into consideration, and they have to change the strategy. And for years they used it, and now they are a little bit different. Their work is different. Questions, please. Tell me, please. Recently, Institute of Journalism. Recently, there was a publication of Russian representatives of culture, cinema, who signed and supported the policy of Putin as to Crimea, and others did not do that. And I saw on Russian TV, and they tried to disprove alternative list from Daniel Yanevsky. And as evidence, they gave a phone conversation with Olena Yakovleva and with Baluyev, two actors who they didn't. There was only that they did not sign that alternative petition. What about Yanevsky? Did he really make that list, or was it a fake, or was there such a phone conversation? As far as I know, maybe that's a different list of Daniel Yanevsky. But the first one, that was the list of people he put on that list and who have not signed it. And he told, that's what he told when my colleagues asked him. He made just a list of people who have not supported. So that was not an official list. So to disprove a simple not an official list, you have to find out who made that unofficial list. Any other question? Two questions. The first one, could you name bright examples how Russian TV channels defend from their lies? For example, as after MH17 crash, and they started to call rebels as a separatist. That's they call them rebels. We support, and now they are separatists, and they doubt. Could you name such examples of self-defense? And the second question, when we started this information warfare, we were losing because one wins who has unlimited opportunities, possibilities for online. Ukrainian media, in your opinion, are Ukrainian media better in this information warfare? And what about our position? How good is our answer to them? Because we have only one tool, that is the truth. Thank you for your question. Two questions, in fact. To the first, an example how they defend. Even before, earlier, they made a disproof, and even Dmitry Kiselov said something. I was surprised even. But as to the position of disprove, when even on Russia 24 there was a video, and they look like that we just don't give news, and but we disprove, and that is a defense. So the best defense is an attack. So that's the way to attack us. So before that, they had to change the rhetorics also. And it's my personal view. On the first channel, there was material about Crimea. They spoke a lot about fakes, about Crimean recreation, and they mentioned even our website, Stop Fake, and they gave a picture that we spread a picture, and it's not true about Crimea, that they have no food in the stores. And they used the picture, which we also disproved, but they told that they disprove our disprove. And so this is the way to attack. We are pleased that leading countries of the world like Russia do that, and that's to the first question. The second, I am pleased that when we came to with the colleague to when we thought what we could do, and right away, like in a week probably, when after we started to issue Stop Fake, and I saw how all Ukrainian TV channels, Ukrainian media started to use rhetorics of the warfare. Everybody like was switched on. It doesn't matter how much time we lost, and it doesn't matter how strong we are. It doesn't matter how about the resources of our enemy don't matter. But the most important that we participate in the process, and I believe that Ukrainian media does that quite well. And I'm pleased that I saw a lot of good reports of good quality on different TV channels, including TSN, STB. Very good quality, and they showed the situation with the war and explanation to people what has happened, and people started to became more critical to any news, and that's probably the most important on this stage, I believe. Any question? I have a question. Is there a Ukrainian resource that spreads these Russian fakes? You know, several times we quote Ukraine.ru, but everybody knows who's the main person there. That's why maybe that is like UA Review. That is a humoristic site. We don't consider them seriously. But anyways, several things we quote from Russian media who give arguments that it's true because it was published on like with a German website of humoristic news, but a Ukrainian resource. Ukraine.ru, probably the Fates probably they had some news that we had to disprove, but Ukrainian media, Russian Ukrainian media spread Russian fakes just by chance when they don't check the information, when they don't examine it. Ukrainian crisis centers, $5 million EU Russian propaganda spends for attacks against Ukraine, like on the front, and is it among media volunteers participate in the warfare or could some financial support improve information on in information warfare? Finances can improve situation anywhere, and like with us, we don't have stable financial support. So we have this crowdfunding, that's wonderful, but you never know how that will work. And we can make less, and we may have less people, and we and readers. Is it a fake? We just don't have time sometimes to cover all the fakes. So volunteers on the front work a lot, and that's very decisive. And a lot of things. Volunteers bring a lot of things, and if not volunteers, the situation will be worse. And this is where the state should help us. But because I do my business and the state does its own business, it's difficult for me to say how many issues they have to deal with. But it seems to me that we could unite efforts somehow, and it's always a good idea in all spheres, in finances, with information, and that can improve our situation because we struggle. We volunteers, and we struggle against the state, and that's quite difficult. One more question. You users, how many views? Can you give us a number of growth numbers? We have more than 100,000 subscribers in all networks, even in Contact, where FSB can do officially whatever they want. And anyways, we are there, and there's a growth, and also it helped us a lot that we covered the information with Butkevich, with Boeing, and that added more users and more views, and they watch us in Russian. We come to Hromadske, and that's very interesting. And they broadcast on seven channels in several regions of Ukraine. That means that our audience is growing, and it means that I hope that people will be more critical to news. Thank you very much. Good luck. Good luck in your fight against fakes. In 15 minutes, dear